And so within a category like Bitcoin, I think there's a lot with, and I think people are going to be doing shows like this about Bitcoin 10 years from now. I just feel like it's such a big topic, and there's room for a lot of them. Like I think if Peter McCormick stops this thing, you're going to have Bram for Bitcoin for millennials, or Robin, and doing a bunch of kind of deep dive on Bitcoiners and the Bitcoin lifestyle and stuff.
In this recent 21st century interview with Fred Krueger, we explore Bitcoin's growth and how social media strategies can impact the cryptocurrency space. Fred delves into Bitcoin's technical and investment aspects, covering everything from power laws to institutional adoption. At the time of the interview, Bitcoin was trading around $63,000, with a 1% increase in the past 24 hours and a 4% rise over the past week. Fred also shares how his background in mathematics and Wall Street shapes his perspective on Bitcoin.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
It's like when I started, I was talking mainly about ETFs. Then I kind of got very interested in the power law, and I talked a lot about that. So I'm willing to hop and jump with topics. Within Bitcoin, I'm very interested. I've talked a little bit about the different aspects of this election on Bitcoin, and both of those are really interesting. It sometimes take a lot of effort to watch. Like, okay, I'm looking at this person. I'm going to sit there and devote an hour and a half of my time to understanding how this person. But if I'm in my car or something, yeah, maybe I want to learn how somebody got into Bitcoin or what they're thinking and stuff. So I find myself watching a lot of those content. I don't want to do really. I don't think that's me. I'm almost better with just tweets. So I think you got to look at what's good for you, right? What is your forte? So I like a lot of these things. I've been a supporter of my competition, right? Like, so my competition, but like, Simply Bitcoin, great, do your thing, Ram, do your thing. It's great. The world needs more of these things. And, whether it's long form video, short form video, tweets, power law type stuff, math to me is a whole, I think that's a great area too, right? Because there's not a lot of like math people in this world, and there's a big kind of education process for, like, I mean, what percentage of Bitcoiners do you think have an idea what is a differential equation? I've never heard Michael Saylor say something that's actually political. I'm sure he has political views, but it's good to stay within your zone and to not widen it out. Look, I have views on jazz or classical music, but I'm not going to like, hey, Fred Krueger, let me tell you the 10 best jazz concerts I went to. No, because most people are totally uninterested in it. And so, I think that's, you need to stick, my radio station is K Bitcoin, you know what I mean? So I like to keep it all Bitcoin all the time, and you're not going to hear me talk about anything else other than Bitcoin. Maybe the economy as it relates to Bitcoin, maybe the election as it relates to Bitcoin. But, I'm kind of here for Bitcoin. That's kind of it's my main interest in Twitter, at least. It's my main public thing. I don't have a lot of other public things that I really want to talk to. And I think that I think that the minute you start branching out and start dealing with other things, it just becomes almost unlistenable, because, people want to tune in to Fred to hear what Fred's saying about Bitcoin. Like, the market's down, what does Fred think? Market's up, what does Fred think? Market sideways, okay, maybe what does Fred like? They want to hear my analysis of it, and they don't want to hear my views on anything else. So I'm pretty cognizant of that, and I try to keep it kind of buttoned up into that area, even though sometimes I want to say a few other things, but I try not to, and that's definitely worked. And, whether you're doing Bitcoin or something else, you should just stick to one topic.
As we just heard from Fred Krueger, he emphasized the importance of authenticity and social media influence in driving Bitcoin's success. Now, let's dive deeper into his insights on how institutional adoption and Bitcoin ETFs are shaping the cryptocurrency landscape. Fred explains how his unique background in mathematics and Wall Street enables him to navigate both the technical and financial aspects of Bitcoin, offering valuable perspectives for investors. Let's now listen to Fred's thoughts on Bitcoin's future in a world where technical expertise meets investment strategy.
I think I have an unusual background for both Bitcoin, for kind of where Bitcoin sits right now, right? Which is, Bitcoin is somewhat a Wall Street story now. It's an investment story. It's a mainstream investment story, and we have these ETFs now that are traded on Wall Street, and but it's also a very technical story, and there's not a lot of people really. There's not a lot of people who are kind of from both worlds, from the, okay, I understand the technical side of Bitcoin and also kind of, I understand investors, and I understand Wall Street. So that's kind of where I came out of. And that's why I really didn't really have that much to say before these ETFs came out, because I was sort of like, okay, well, I own a bunch of Bitcoin, but, and I understand Bitcoin and I love Bitcoin, but I didn't really have an angle. Retail, that's why stock splits still work, right? I mean, it's not specific to Bitcoin. It's just a lot of retail likes to buy things that have low dollar prices, so they can get a lot of them. And that's one of the reasons why things like Shiba Inu were very successful, right? Because they're like, oh, I'll make 1 quadrillion coins. Okay, great. So somebody can say, wow, I'm a Shiba Inu billionaire. Okay, well, great. Yeah. I would say figure out who you are, be as authentic as you possibly can be. Like, figure out, what do you bring that's unique to the table, right? And everybody's got something, but a lot of people, they're just putting out something that's not unique. So figure out what you have that's unique and concentrate on that, right? It might be that you're old, it might be that you're young, it might be that you just moved to El Salvador and you're going to live on Bitcoin next year. That's a story, right? So it goes back down to the newsroom analogy, right? You got to write an interesting story, and your story's got to be somewhat interesting. Now, I think what people realize with me is my personal story, and we'll get into that, is pretty interesting, like, why? I got a PhD in math from Stanford, right? Number one. Number two, I worked on Wall Street and made quite a bit of money on Wall Street, 6 years of prop trading. I had this whole career on Wall Street. Well, that's interesting. Number three, as a startup guy, I had $500 million worth of exits. Okay. Now, none of them are tools that you use today, right? And all those companies, everything I built was subsumed. That's the way. There's very few products that can withstand, that amount of time, right? We're not using AOL very much anymore. Or even things that were super successful like AOL, right? We're not using anymore.
Fred Krueger offers an excellent analysis of how Bitcoin is evolving in the digital age, combining social influence, institutional adoption, and technical expertise. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you think social media impacts the cryptocurrency market? Will institutional involvement bring more stability to Bitcoin's price? Share your insights on these questions. We'd love to hear from you. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.